Joined now by the authors of that report, Kateryna Stepanenko and George Barros. Good to have you both. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us, Jim.
So, George, just in shorthand to begin, because I want to dive into the details here. Big picture, should our viewers listening now say, has the tide of this war turned in Ukraine's favor?
So we don't call it a turning point for the war deliberately. We're saying we're in a new phase, and these words really matter. What I mean by this is as follows. If you look at the map of the war and the control of terrain from 2023 to present, it's barely changed. You really can't even see a difference unless you look at it with a microscope. But here's the thing that's interesting. Since 2023 until just recently, the war has had a positional nature, meaning neither side have been able to use tanks for sort of World War II style mechanized drives because the drone threats have denied each other from doing that. But a very curious thing happened starting this spring. We started to see a new pattern of the Ukrainians actually getting vehicles back into the fight in new and novel ways that were categorically impossible 12 months ago. So we asked ourselves, why is that? Why are tanks and armored personnel carriers making a new debut on the battlefield when we thought that that was sort of an outdated technology? And the result is the paper that we looked at. We look at the various different reasons for how that is happening and some of the implications.
Okay, Kateryna, you argue that Russia has tried to fight a war of attrition where they gradually not just eat up Ukrainian resources, but also wait out Ukraine and the West. But your report says that's not working. What changed to in effect undermine that Russian war plan?
You're exactly right. The Russian theory of victory is that the Kremlin anticipated that it can outlast and out-attrit Ukrainian forces, essentially keeping to push, advancing 100 meters at a time in an effort to paint a picture that they're actually achieving victories on the battlefield. Now, Ukrainians are flipping the script. They found vulnerabilities in Russian infiltration tactics and in the way that the Russians were advancing on the battlefield. And instead of keeping on with this positional warfare, they're finding vulnerabilities in the Russian drone barriers and defensive drone defenses, as well as finding vulnerabilities in Russian logistics. The biggest inflection that we have observed is the effectiveness of the Ukrainian intermediate range drone range strikes, which are now targeting a very key highway that connects occupied southern Ukraine, as well as occupied Crimea, with mainland Russia at distances of 100 to 160 kilometers. This is a critical vulnerability for the Russians, as by degrading Russian logistics, Ukrainian forces are ensuring that Russians cannot bring additional troops and additional equipment to the front line in the necessary tempo.
George, the headline analysis of the Ukraine war is that drones have been defining, and I know you talk a great deal about Ukraine's drone innovations here. So just to dig down a little deeper on what you said earlier, how is Ukraine able to re-inject those kind of big targets, right, of tanks and armored personnel carriers, despite that constant threat from above? What have they learned to allow them to do that?
That's the million-dollar question. And what we're saying here is that they've not figured out the secret sauce exactly 100%, but they're experimenting and they're challenging it. And they're being successful in part and parcel. So how are they doing it? A couple of factors. Number one, the Ukrainians are getting better at planning. They're thinking about not just how do we more successfully shove our stuff into the Russians and try to make a dent, but they're thinking about, okay, how do we undermine the core foundations of the Russian positions on the battlefield? How do we destroy Russian drone operators? Or how do we ensure that even if the Russian drones are still a thing, we make them ineffective? So what we've seen were a series of shaping operations. Number one, the Russians have not been able to get their drones into the air quite as easily because the Ukrainians have made it a task to kill their drone teams and hunt them down relentlessly, but also to do that in a geographically intelligent way. How can we create a drone overmatch in a particular place and time so that when we fly our drones, there are no Russian drones, so we can get the overmatch? The other thing that the Ukrainians are doing are conducting what we call suppression of enemy air defenses. There's been a 6-month campaign, at least 6-month campaign, to try to take out Russian air defenses and radars to allow for these Ukrainian larger drones to go deeper and further to deny the Russians the ability to resupply their troops. And it's really the art. It's not a science. It's the art of being able to mask these different effects in space and time in geographically vulnerable places to then have a shot at being able to get vehicles back into the fight.
Kateryna, to Russia, is Russia's ability to adapt and its ability just to hold ground or try to gain ground, is it limited by its inability to meet recruiting standards, which you talk about, but also just the economic pain at home? I mean, is the economic pain at home beginning to show in its capabilities on the battlefield?
Absolutely. We do assess that that is a key factor in why Russia has lost its competitive edge. In 2025, actually in the summer of 2025, Russia did have an advantage in the intermediate drone range strikes because of their Rubicon Center for Advanced Technologies. It's an elite formation of drone operators, engineers, technologists that made it possible for Russia to inflict damages on Ukrainian logistics. The problem with that is that they're too small. There's not many of them. And for Russia to actually achieve similar effects across the entire battlefield, Russia actually does need to recruit more drone operators. And that's something that has been a very big challenge for Russians. Yeah. They've launched a very widespread campaign to recruit students to operate drones and have not met their quotas at this time. And then economically, it's a very, very expensive undertaking. For each recruit, Russia does offer thousands of dollars worth of recruitment bonuses. Today, actually, Putin signed a bill that authorizes the federal government to relieve people from debt up to 10 million rubles, which is around $140,000. Tremendous amount of money for Russians for any recruits that join the armed forces. And that is going to have tremendous economic long-term implications, because it's not just about recruiting people, it's also about sustaining them and sponsoring them throughout their entire life.
No question. Well, it also shows the price of getting them to the battlefield seems to be rising. George Barros, Kateryna Stepanenko, we appreciate you sharing your analysis.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.